Good timing.
3-2.
I'm Jack Calavertinis. This is Sarah Sellup. We're here at Ballo's Restaurant as part of the Capitol Forum series, and I'm sort of dubbing this the Beyond the Green Room, where I'm getting a chance to visit with fellow Green Room friends. We usually are on the receiving end of questions, and today we're just going to ask each other some questions and have a conversation here at this beautiful restaurant. Had a chance to meet you at Fox 5, and I've learned you're from Western Pennsylvania.
Yep.
You are a Hill person and have lots of experience on Capitol Hill,
Yes.
as well as your 917 Strategies
Right,
firm.
right, yeah.
So tell me, okay. So let's just get started.
Okay.
Have you been here before, to Ballo's?
Yes, and it is one of my favorite restaurants in DC. One of the only places I tell my out-of-town friends, hey, book a reservation, make sure it's at night, because not only do you get great food, you get a DJ. It is so much fun. The food and the drinks are fantastic. And if you come here, you have to check out the bathroom.
And like you were saying, before, DC's never had a place like this.
Right.
It's more New York than DC, and being
Yes.
a third generation Washingtonian, I can say that we've never had anything like this before. Now, I don't
Right.
stay when it gets nutty. We usually leave at like 8:30 or 9, but as the volume's going up, we know what's coming.
Exactly. And something I truly love about Ballo's is that a lot of our friends who would typically go to the Monocle, Capitol Grill, a lot of the DC establishment places are starting to venture out to the West End to try Ballo's. The food is amazing. It is so good. And I have a lot of dietary restrictions. It's one of the only places with small plates that accommodates it like none other.
Okay, enough about Ballo's. We're going to talk about, let's talk about you now. Let's talk about business. How are
Okay.
things with the Trump victory? And both of us
Right.
happen to be on one side of the aisle, which is the Republican side. The next time we do this, I'm going to have one of my Democratic colleagues come on. But how are things going? How's the buzz in your world?
Everything is wild and crazy. I mean, we're in the middle of Christmas party season as we're filming this. And things have been out of control. The networking is one of the best of the year. Business is booming. Everybody's getting excited when it comes to the Trump inauguration and starting to take off with what's our plan, who can we talk to, what is the best way to get our message across. And especially with things like Vivek and Elon starting the Doge caucus, there's so many more opportunities, and especially when it comes to communications. It's a new, different world, and people are actually taking advantage of it this time around.
Funny you should mention Doge, maybe not so funny, but I'm on the receiving end of lots of questions as well and lots of interest. And so it's not only about HHS and where I was previously and the FDA and NIH, but this Doge thing is so important because you have a whole population of people that are minimizing it and others that realize, no, this could be real. This could really upset our apple cart in terms of as consultants or as government employees.
Right.
And there are a lot of unknowns except for one thing. I believe this is going to be the biggest game changer in terms of reduction of Washington presence, money, funding, and reorganizations that we've ever seen. Because usually when presidents say that of either party, it never happens. But they've never had an Elon Musk with X, basically shaming various organizations
Right.
when they have some ridiculous spending projects.
Right. So I worked for Vivek last year. I moved to Columbus, Ohio for a stint to go work for Vivek in the comm shop, and he's amazing. I read Woke Inc., and I love who he is.
Great book.
It is such a good book. And I realized not only is he a great businessman, he's a great politician and understands the minutia, the things that we see. When I was on the Hill, I worked for Congressman Jody Heiss. I miss him. He was a great member. Mike Collins took over his seat, and he's known as the memer in chief. It's wild. Anyways, so Jody was the ranking member on the oversight subcommittee when it comes to government work reform. So a lot of this stuff like the Metro, telework during the pandemic, I started at the tail end of the pandemic. So we had this opportunity to say, you need to stop being on your couch. You can't issue certain things. You are a
No, I hear you on that.
Yeah.
Because even before the pandemic, when I was at the FDA and
Oh,
I
yeah.
walked in the front door in 2017, so many lights were out.
It's wild.
And the former head of the FDA, the acting person, said to then Secretary Price, you can't really change our policies because we don't even have enough parking here. And I thought to myself, that's pretty lame. No, we
That's
need to
so
get
wild.
people in the office working hard for the American people. Where they can and need to be at home, that's one thing, but things are out of control.
But there's a difference between the people who are the government careers and the government careers who will sit at their desk and play Sudoku all day. And some of these people are the only ones who know how to issue things like passports, but you can't issue passports from your couch.
So let me ask you this. Okay, we've done these hits on Fox 5. Give me one of your more interesting or funny moments that you have had as a guest.
So, as Jack knows, I have a tendency to get stuck in really bad traffic. I'm talking like showed up 3 minutes before we went live for a hit, coming from Alexandria, Virginia, all the way to Bethesda, Maryland. So this one time I'm on Fox 5, like it or not. I think it was my third time on, and I was running late. I get there about 10 minutes before, everybody's seated. They won't let me on set. And I'm like, I'm literally here. Like, they haven't done the preview on TV yet of Like It or Not. And then they usher me in 3 minutes in after the first question. And the DC Panda is sitting in my seat. And they make me do this small, awkward walk of shame into the studio. I just have so many weird moments when it comes to Like It or Not.
That was crazy.
It was
That was
so
absolutely nuts.
bad. And like, I don't know what the deal is there, but then even my first time on Like It or Not, they went to do a preview. They take this sliding door and they pull it out and they do like this little walk-in. It froze while I was walking out. So literally the only shot that I had on my walk out was my leg. And Jim just starts laughing, and this is the most me thing of all time. It was so embarrassing and so hilarious that I had people near and far texting me like, "You good? What's going on?"
Well, I have it easy because mine are just the earpieces popping out, which happened on Sunday with Mike Emanuel on his Fox show. So compared to that, it pops out of your ear, that's fine. Mm-hmm. Well, look, are you a football fan? Because that's my thing. And so
Yeah.
Commanders, Redskins right now is one of the most exciting moments that I can remember in 25 years.
Well, you know where I'm from, right? Latrobe, Pennsylvania, where the Steelers train.
Where they train.
Yep, exactly. So I grew up with Steelers training camp. I'm a diehard Steelers fan. My fiance's Giants. I'm here. So I don't really have the team loyalty that I used to. So fill me in on all of that drama.
Well, look, they can be your NFC team. I've always liked the Steelers. I go way back, to the 80s with them and Terry Bradshaw. But the reason it's so hot right now is we had the absolute worst owner in the history of all of professional sports, not just football, but all professional sports in Dan Snyder. Now we have one of the best. And just yesterday, the RFK, the decision to transfer the rights to RFK to DC was added into the CR. And so we're that much closer
Wild.
to getting the team back in DC. We already have respectability. We have a winning record. Now we just need the logo, the beautiful logo, the best logo ever in the NFL that was trashed in the midst of like false wokeness when actually you're harming the Native American artist who
Yes.
created that beautiful.
And do you remember when you'd go to games, it was only these like annoying white women who were just sitting there saying it's racist? Like, there's no truth to that.
And not taking into account how people who actually are American Indians, Native Americans actually felt about it. No one
Exactly.
told anyone about it. And I understand about the name, but the logo itself, hopefully it's coming back.
Right, and even better, just to tie in your background, another RFK's coming to town.
Yes, and my gosh, I can't even tell you the number of times people are asking about it. My answer is, we need change. His message, it wasn't President Trump's message at the beginning of the campaign, make America healthy again, but because of this unlikely alliance, now you have people like Dr. McCary, who's going to be heading up the FDA, Dr. Jay Bhattacharya at the NIH, both of whom, by the way, were canceled during COVID because they dared to speak up about maybe there are other views that we should be taking into account, and they've actually been vindicated. So never in history have you had two very fine doctors, one from Johns Hopkins, one from Stanford, now taking on these incredible leadership roles who are going to be key deputies and leaders themselves to RFK. So it's an exciting time in many areas, but in healthcare, I can't even tell you how excited I am for patients, for innovators, for those that want to make sure that we have better knowledge of what's in our beverages. We have some nice beverages here, but what's in our beverages, what's in our foods, and maybe the federal government should be leaning forward more into telling us, you know what, that's not actually going to make you healthier. It could actually be the reason for our obesity epidemic and what's happening with kids.
Exactly, and you also have to think about the new trend when it comes to organic, when it comes to adaptogens, everything of that sort, is to eliminate seed oils. And that's what's getting started. As someone who can't have a lot of foods, the imitation foods, like imitation cheese, why does it have sunflower oil in it?
Yes.
Why is McDonald's using skim milk powder in their fries? Why isn't it just something healthier?
And high fructose corn syrup replaces sugar in this country, but in other countries they still use sugar.
I got my fiance to look at the sugar content when it comes to food, and he was like, oh, 9 grams of sugar, that's not bad. I'm like, this is a 6-ounce soda. Do you want to see how much that is? If you really want to look into the health world, look at what 5 pounds of fat actually is on a human. It sounds like nothing, but then you look at it and it's this bulbous thing. It's disgusting.
All right, on a happier note, let's end here because we're going to be wrapping up. What drink are you having today?
Balos Martini.
Nice, nice. Well, and fun fact about the Balos Martini is it includes Mastika liqueur. And Balos is one of the restaurants in town that has this. It comes from a little island called Chios, where my mother-in-law's family is from. It's been known to have all sorts of different medicinal qualities. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. But that Balos Martini is great. I'm actually having a spicy Maha margarita that we unveiled at my little holiday gathering here.
So mad I missed it.
It is healthy, it is no additives, no sugar, and just the right amount of spice to make it a true Make America Healthy Again margarita.
Yeah, sounds like something we both love.
I want to thank you so much for... What do we... we'll do the thank you when the food comes. So if we could just cut that there, and I'm not sure where hopefully it's ready to come out.